I have the honor to welcome my boss, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation to the NBC headquarters. We are happy to receive you and your entourage. In brief, sir, the National Broadcasting Commission has a total of 25 state offices, 10 zonal offices, with a total number of staff standing at 419. The Commission is now monitoring over 777 stations. Out of this number, 609 are radio stations and 168 are television stations. During our monitoring activities, a total of 3,312 stations were given warning. The warnings were issued in the first, second, and third quarter of 2022 and 2023. In 2022, a total of 125 stations were penalized. In 2023, a total of 1,238 warnings were given, while during the same year, 62 stations were penalized. Permit me, Honorable Minister, to briefly provide you a tidbit about the NBC's activities that deserves your attention. I'm sure you'll be much interested in hearing about digital switchover, DSO. I don't want to use the controversial DSO, but this is what I want you to discuss with members of commission here. It cannot be denied to say that DSO has inherent implementation challenges. In view of this, the Commission determines to work on simultaneous delivery of Nigeria to the life-changing experience of digital broadcasting. That is why we want to introduce SimoCrypt. SimoCrypt is a system whereby we want to use StarTimes box in order to allow all users of StarTimes boxes to have access to free TV, because StarTimes are covered in almost 80% in the country. So that's why we now ask NTA and StarTimes to have an agreement. Would they sign this agreement to enable free TV use their boxes, so that when you want to use free TV boxes, you may not even have to buy the box. By buying a single box, you have access to both StarTimes and then free TV signals also. However, the outgoing board has approved licensing to South Signal distributor, because what we are facing now is that the free TV, which is the backbone of DSO project, has problem of signal. So that was the reason why the outgoing board agreed that we should register a third signal distributor. The Commission needs the Honorable Minister to make a decision, to take a decision, because the last time when we approached the last minister, after the board's approval, he said we should keep the approval of the board to the new minister. So we want you to look at it, to look at the possibility of giving the go-ahead to this commission to get a third signal distributor. The two signal distributors that we're having now, ITS and Pinnacle, are in a very, very sorry situation, which I would like to, is going to be part of our discussion later. The National Broadcasting Commission and Just Switchover stakeholders also, we want to make a proposal to you here, that in order to have a better understanding of the whole project of DSO, we are suggesting that we should have a meeting between the minister, NBC, stakeholders, and all that are concerned with this project, and including members of the parliament. That's the chairman, House Committee on Information, and chairman, Senate Committee on Information. We should have a meeting at the earliest possible time. The Honorable Minister will look at his own schedule and then pick the time, and NBC is ready to host the meeting. And also, we want to tell you that a bill for an act to repeal and amend the National Broadcasting Commission Act, N11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to accommodate the transition from analog to digital broadcasting services. Also to promote quality audio and video delivery, efficient management of the spectrum, Nigerian Broadcast Institute, social media regulation, and for related matters have been strayed for the first time on the floor of the National Assembly. All these that I have said now are not captured in the present act of the Commission. So we have already submitted a bill to the National Assembly for amendment, to amend the act. One of our major problems now is social media. Unless there is a bill, there is a law that allows NBC to act on social media issues, that issue will continue to be a monster in our daily lives in this country. License fee. I know that the minister, when he was asked during the screening exercise, you said the license fee should be reduced. So now we would like to discuss this issue with you, and you may see a reason why license fee should not be reduced. On this issue, permit me, Honorable Minister, to inform you that the debt profile of broadcasters is over 3 billion naira as of today. That is why in May 2022, the Commission published in the national dailies the list of licensees that are indebted to the Commission and granted them 2 weeks to renew their license and pay their debt or consider their license revoked. After expiration of the deadline by 3 months, 52 licensees who refused to pay their outstanding debt or showed no commitments in contravention of Section 10A of the third schedule of the NBC Act had in August 19, 2022, had their license revoked. And after the revocation, they rushed the courts, and then we went back to status quo. And that's where we are now. We're having this problem because they are using the court judgments to refuse paying NBC the statutory money that they are supposed to pay. So we want the Honorable Minister to intervene to see how best possible we can avoid all these court cases and make NBC work freely. Powers of the Commission to sanction. The Commission has recently faced some challenges following a federal high court ruling stopping NBC from penalizing iron broadcasters in a case where the Commission was not represented. They took us to court, and NBC was not represented, and a judgment was passed against NBC. Not knowing that a court of the same statute passed a judgment that says NBC has powers to sanction. But a similar court, the same court, now passed another judgment without our representation that NBC has no powers to sanction. It's just like telling road safety that they don't have powers to sanction motorists when they commit any offense. Or you tell immigration, or any, most of the agencies of government that fine offenders, I think they have their laws that allow them to do it, same as NBC. So NBC should not be an exception, sir. We have powers, we derive our powers from the Act, and we have the powers to sanction stations. It's not just what we want to sanction. We don't want to sanction stations. We prefer to bring them together for negotiation, for understanding. But we only apply sanction when there is no way out of it. So we don't want the stations or our stakeholders to see NBC as enemy. When you mention NBC anywhere, the first impression people have is sanction, sanction. NBC is not just about sanction. We held a station also. I remember during election there was a state that tried to close some stations, and we came in quickly, we intervened, and that issue came to an end as quickly as possible at the time. One of the governors ordered the stations to be closed, and NBC was there for that station. So we are not just sanctioning stations, sir, but we work with the station, we help the station to achieve their aims also. And also I remember recently, or just of recent, a state government went and demolished a station, AIT station, and we came in, we wrote a letter, we sympathized with them. We also want them to follow the law, to obey the laws, but we don't want them to see NBC as just an instrument of sanction, or an instrument that government is using to deny them press freedom. Automation of license processes. Let me invite the Honorable Minister to support NBC in its effort to digitize the broadcast license application processes, where potential applicants will submit applications from the comfort of their rooms and track the progress of their applications. This, I think, will help the Commission in making it easier for applicants. What we do now normally is that when you want to apply for a license, you have to come to the Commission. You fill the form, you pay 50,000 naira, and then you go back. You do the feasibility studies, which is about 500 or so. Then you have to keep on coming or calling the commission to find out about the situation or the position of your application. But now, what we are trying to do in the commission is that you don't have to come to the commission. We are creating a portal whereby from the comfort of your room, you log in, register, make your payment, submit the application form, and then wait the process. We now put it to the ministry and then to the presidency. Once approval is received, then you get the approval and then come to the commission to collect your certificate. That will make it easier for us to do our work. And I think this is what is applicable over the world. But we cannot do it without money. And I have said earlier that we are having problems in getting money. We have over 3 billion with our stakeholders. We don't want to pay. And we know the situation actually. Some of them are in a very critical situation. If you force them to pay, they will close the stations. So we have to have human face. And I'm sure NBC has human face also. So we want the Honorable Minister to look at this situation to see how best we can help to automate our system here. And then Africa's 2023. The last time we had Africa's was 2018. Now we are going to have our Africa's in a few weeks to come, in about 14 or less than 20 days to come. This is the biggest event in the Nigerian broadcast industry that draws participation from African continent and from all over the world. We have broadcast regulators, content producers, equipment manufacturers and dealers, communication policy makers and other stakeholders from Africa and all over the world. I therefore implore the Honorable Minister to support NBC in making this year's edition a superb. For information, as I've said earlier, the last Africa's took place in 2018, and it was in Abuja. This is the first time we are taking Africa's to Lagos because this is where we have the largest concentration of broadcast media, and it's also very accessible to people coming from all over the world to come to Lagos. When I first came as the Director General of this commission, there wasn't any modern way of monitoring stations across the country. Rather than monitoring officers, normally when I came, they used their mobile phone, go very close to the television stations to monitor programs. But somebody coming from outside the country, I was opportunity to work in many countries with BBC, Radio Moscow International, China Radio International. Most of my experience I gathered from outside Nigeria. So when I came, I started to change the situation because taking your mobile phone or an ordinary recorder to record, you will not get the best out of it. So I now introduce a modern state-of-the-art equipment so that we can monitor all stations from headquarters here. You don't have to move around. Outside where you are coming, I'm sure you must have seen 2 or 3 OD bands. These are called jammers, monitors and jammers. But now, if you take one of these jammers to any of the volatile area, from a mayor looking at that jammer, you know that this is a jammer. And you are putting the risk of the drivers and the motorists at risk. You are putting their lives at risk. So we decided to keep them aside and go for a digital approach, a modern approach to monitoring. That's why we went to Italy, we bought our equipment, and the equipment are there, and the Foreign Minister is going to see the equipment. From here, we can monitor all the stations across the country. That was the plan. But we did not have that money to do it. So we started it in pieces. Now we can conveniently monitor 60 stations here. Not only television, but also radio stations. Not only we monitor them, sir, but we also archive the content. And on demand, if you come and report to NBC that something happened in Ikeja, or in Bauchi, or in Zamfara, just give us the date and the time, we input it, and then the whole program will come from that particular station. And then we monitor, our monitoring officers will look at it and see where the infractions happen. And we want to also replicate all this across the country if we have money. It's something that is demanded. It requires a lot of money. So before the end of that administration, we sent a letter to the president talking about 23 billion naira. So it was almost approved, but unfortunately the nation couldn't support it at the time because of lack of money. But we hope with the present situation, things are getting a little bit more difficult to monitor in the way we do it. And there's need for us to have it in Lagos, have it in the southeast part of the country, so that we can monitor it. And I also remember that there was a time when we received a letter from the DSS that we should serve as a witness to bring some, when the nation was accusing Kalu, when they took Kalu to court. So NBC was asked to come and testify, bring evidence against Kalu. But unfortunately, we couldn't get any because there was not any system to archive that information. But now we can put it, we can keep it, we can archive it. Our plan is to keep it for 10 years. But now we can do it for only 1 year. But if we have money, I'm sure we can do it for 10 years. And lastly, sir, our major problem now is also the social media issue. The social media issue is not part of our mandate actually, but there is no clear law that allows NBC to handle the issue. That's why we put it in our draft bill to the Assembly to allow NBC to be able to handle the social media issue. We all know the dangers of social media. These are people who sit down from their own rooms and then send fake news, hate speech, and it's very difficult for you to detect where are these people. So we need equipment to monitor and then detect these people, and then that will help the country in having a very good sanity and also sanitizing our airwaves. Honorable Minister, I would like to take much of your time. After this meeting, I'd like you to have a tour of our new equipment and some facilities of the Commission. Thank you very much.
For us, we've been out since 8 a.m. in the morning. This is the fourth event I'm holding today, so permit us if you see some signs of fatigue in us. We are already eager to go home and rest now. And sorry for keeping you at NBC. The day started, like I said, at 8 a.m. Before we got to NTA that we were supposed to get to at 11, it was almost maybe 1 o'clock, or 12, past 12. And then, NTA is a very large place. They had a lot of things to show us. And so it took a long time, but we were determined to come to NBC, and we are glad that everyone here is waiting. I was a bit surprised when you say for 10 years no minister has come here. For more than 10 years, no minister has come here. Well, we're here. And we'll be here again. This, like I said at the NTA, this is the first formal ceremonial visit. But next time, probably when I will come, like I said at the NTA, you may not see all the aides and the security people. Maybe 1 or 2 of them will come here and find out what you are doing and go back without invitation. We'll just give you 30 minutes notice and come and see what is happening here. I believe the best oversight is the one that you get people while they are working, not the one that they do any ceremony. Don't mind, you don't have to buy bananas on that day. I will make sure I eat very well. Thank you. I'll read some points that I have raised to respond to you. First, I'm delighted to be here at the headquarters of the NBC on my maiden visit as Minister of Information and National Orientation. I'm here with my team to have a first-hand experience of the workings of the NBC and also to listen to the challenges and opportunities that your organization provides with a view to working together to attain excellence. Of course, the NBC has a very important responsibility in ensuring that broadcasting in Nigeria adheres to the highest standards of professionalism, ethics, and integrity. In a world where information dissemination is ever evolving, your oversight and regulatory role has never been more critical. Broadcasting is not just the transmission of signals, it is about the transmission of ideas, of culture, of values. It shares public opinion, it influences social discourse, it also reflects the inherent diversity that we have as a nation. In addition to all this, broadcasting is also very much a commercial space, providing immense opportunities for the creation of jobs, for nurturing talent and innovation, and for driving economic growth. I'm committed to working closely with the NBC to foster an environment that promotes media freedom, dissemination of accurate and unbiased information, and business and technological innovation. Our collective goal, of course, is to ensure that the broadcasting sector in Nigeria does not only meet the international standard, but it also serves as a catalyst for national development in all its ramifications. I'm aware, like the DG said, that the digital switchover, which is a flagship project under the supervision of the NBC, has the potential to ensure the highest level of fidelity in broadcasting, deepen digital penetration, create multiple channels for programming, and unleash the creative abilities of our youth. I would like to use this opportunity. To make it very clear that going forward, we are going to give the DSO all the seriousness it demands. Even though Nigeria has now missed several deadlines set for us by the International Telecommunications Union, the ITU, I will work with you to ensure that we achieve that very important and challenging goal. We must learn from all the mistakes of the past regarding this DSO, dedicate ourselves to a speedy and efficient implementation. To that end, I would like to see from you a clear and workable roadmap towards the full attainment of the DSO in Nigeria within the shortest possible time. As I mentioned during my visit to NDA earlier today, let me reiterate here that the Tinubu administration is committed to the freedom of the media and to a culture of credible and responsible broadcasting in Nigeria. Let me again express my sincere appreciation for the dedication and hard work of the staff of the NBC, and to say that I look forward to greater hard work and to working with you all to achieve our collective mandate. I thank you for your warm reception and comments of very good engagement. But now, this is what I noted. But again, when I was having my engagement with the DG, there are a lot of things that also have come up that is necessary for me to also respond. One of it is the Simocrypt concept that you talked about. I don't know whether that is an alternative to the DSO or is also a complement to the DSO. I think we need to further discuss that so that it will be very clear to all of us and to all stakeholders. You talked about the request for a third signal distributor after Pinnacle and StarTimes. We'll also look at ITS, sorry. We'll look at that and see the possibilities and what that presents to us as a country. You talked about request for a meeting of the DSO. I think this is very critical. That indeed the DSO is a very critical matter that is not just enough to sit down in the comfort of our offices to address. It's important that the Ministry of Information, the NBC, all stakeholders, whether in the public or private media, need to come together again, sit down, and look at a workable solution. This is something that has been around for a very long time. And even before I came to this ministry, if you ask anybody about the Ministry of Information, the first thing that comes to mind is the issue of DSO. Why is it that Nigeria is yet to fully attain that process of digitization of the broadcast industry? The DSO is at the heart of that, and I'm going to work with you and all stakeholders to ensure that that is achieved within the nearest possible time. We cannot afford to be presenting an analog platform when everybody around the world has moved, to the digital platform. You talked about your effort to amend the NBC Act. I think that is commendable. You need to, as you said, when this was done, so many things have not been taken into consideration. Of course, laws are meant to be evolving, and any attempt to have laws that will reflect our current circumstances is always welcome. I'm sure the NBC will work with all stakeholders, especially the National Assembly, to see that these laws are amended for the benefit of all Nigerians. Yes, I talked, DG, I really did talk about the reduction and the fee of licensing. Perhaps because of where I'm coming from, you have to convince me why that is not possible, and I also convince you why that is also possible. My concern is that it is very possible for license fees to be charged, very high license fees to be charged. I agree, but we need to create an environment that will make the operators within this industry make enough money so that we continue to charge them. How do you charge somebody who is making nothing? You know, at the end of the day, the industry will just collapse, because without the players, without the stakeholders, there's probably nobody to regulate. You know, there's nobody to oversight them. So I agree that we need more money. I agree that the NBC needs to make a lot of revenue, but it's also important that the necessary mechanism for the growth of the sector is put in place, and then we can look at those fees and revisit. But for now, I'm still holding my ground that that the licenses fees need to be looked at with a view to reducing them downward. You need to convince me otherwise why that is not feasible. And it's right, you mentioned something here which is extremely critical for me, and I think you are very right, DG, when you say the NBC is not just about sanction. Absolutely. I don't believe that the NBC is about sanction. Each time the NBC is on the news, it is about, you know, one station or the other committing one form of infraction or another. But I think beyond that, we also need to look at it from within. You need to do a lot of public enlightenment on this, and I think that the public communication in this regard is a bit low. You need to up it so that people really understand further what the role of the NBC is, because truly, members of the public see the NBC only when there are sanctions to be made. Of course, it's usually like that. When you don't commit any offense, nobody sees you. I think it's important for NBC to step up its public engagement, for people to understand that the NBC is not just about sanction, it is also about its capacity to help the industry to grow, to help broadcasters to reach their potential. I think you need to emphasize that and, you know, create some avenues for better engagement with the Nigerian public so that they will get to know that. But I know you are doing much, but you need to do much more in that regard. It is only when you do that that Nigerians will see you not from that punitive sense. They see you as also partners in progress. And the case of point you made about River State is of note. The NBC, I saw the NBC there really trying to make, you know, to protect, so to say, the media organization there. You know, so it's important that the media organization needs to see you as stakeholders in their growth and in their processes of, you know, deploying their resources for the benefit of Nigeria. They shouldn't just see you as, look, we are waiting for you like a policeman, where you just hide somewhere under the tree and then wait for you to now commit an offense and say we are here. I think people should know that you are there even when offenses are not created, so that understanding, mutual understanding. In fact, when you step up that, when you now come back and say, look, we are now sanctioning, people will now understand. But if you just wait for them as if you are happy that somebody makes an offense and then you just slam down on him, then it becomes a problem. I know that is not the intention of the NBC, but public engagement, public communication in that respect will help to foster that understanding. The issue of the digital fees of licenses, I think it's one of the ideas you and I discussed when you came to the office. It's absolutely important that you digitize. You cannot be talking about DSO when in your operations you are still being operating like analog. You have to be digital all over, not just in one aspect. I agree that the processes of application and approvals, even tracking of that process of application can be done online. You know, there's no need for one to keep coming to the NBC or to keep making telephone calls to know whether the application he has put in for broadcast license is issued or not issued. That way, even there will be sanity in the system, the subjectivity that comes with it will be further reduced, the transparency that government wants to uphold will be clearly also seen. You talked about Africa's 2023. Of course, Africa's is the flagship program of all broadcast stakeholders in this country. It's the biggest show, so to say, within the broadcast industry. I'm glad that the NBC is working seriously to achieving that in Lagos before the end of this month. We have received your invitation to that regard, and we are also working to see that the VIP you want to bring there, the Vice President, we're able to convince him to come to Africa. I will want to pause here since you say there is more interaction to happen. I hope this will not drag us into the night. And then you also say you want the press to go. I'm not. You are the one to say that because I don't want to be seen to be running in the press. I have told everyone that I will run a very press-free environment. So I won't ask any pressman to go out. If the DG says so, that's fine. Thank you very much. That's on a lighter note, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you, and thank you for the very warm reception. Thank you.
When the family affairs came to my office, asking me what kind of gift to be given to you, I told them, give them the court. Call, NBC call. Oh. So that, but later on I realized that you must act it. But as a minister, you have to get something. Later we take the court to my office. So on behalf of the management and the entire side of NBC, please accept this document.
Has the capacity of monitoring 20 channels of TV, 40 channels for FM. We don't upgrade it last week. The signals
channels on this tuner 1 liter, and then we have small channels on the 2.
Well, they are doing so much, but much more need to be done. You know that I went to NTA. I saw the progress they've made, but I've also charged them with the responsibility of ensuring that we move away from where we are and proceed further. I've come to NBC, and we also talked about the challenges, especially with the digitization process. That has told for a very long time. Nigeria cannot afford to still remain as an analog country in terms of our broadcasting platforms. Every other part of the world has moved on. I know that there are challenges, but we need to resolve that quickly and move on. We cannot continue to be in analog position when the rest of the world, even smaller countries, have moved beyond this point.
With what we have seen, do they have the potential of moving the renewed book agenda to the next level?
Oh yes, greatly. They do have that potential. Of course, some reforms have to take place for that to happen. But of course, they have that potential. They have the manpower. They have the people with the brain. They have the people with the necessary skills. We only need to implore them to do more and create the necessary political will for them to do their jobs. But I believe that when we press that home, they will be able to do much more than they are doing at the moment.
Both agencies complained about funding. Is this administration going to look into these areas?
We'll look at that, but we also said that it's not just about funding, it's also about attitude. You can't just be throwing money at the same problem over and over. Of course, they will get funding, but we also charge them to do a lot more. Attitude need to be changed. Their orientation need to change. They need to know that they are competing with other peers, and you cannot be in the same position and be doing the same thing over and over, and just say that you need more funding. Yes, you need more funding, but what do you do with the funding? The necessary mindset has to be gotten right first before even funding is made available. But of course, the president is willing to put money in this sector. We'll put it in the right direction, not money that will go down the drain.